truck's been sitting far too long and has had little work done on it. A little motivated right now. We're going to sell our house and move, so I need to make this thing a roller. Haven't done much over the last 2 years on it. I think it's been 2 years. I have to check my last video. I did do a little painting, I think, since then. Mounted the water pump, pulled out the steering box. Steering box is right there on the floor. Found a company on eBay who remanufactures them. About $260 with a $200 core. So I'm going to order one of those up and then ship them. This is the core. I have to replace the bushings on my springs. They're completely worn out. I've managed to get one in. They will go in a lot easier than they come out. This is the one that I've taken out so far. I don't know if you can see, the rubber was completely worn out where the weight of the truck was sitting on it. And this is the sleeve. I had to pound the heck out of it to get it out. Like I said, went in a lot easier than it came out. This is a new Moog bushing. Used nuts, bolts, washers, sockets to draw it in. I'm doing it the caveman way. Cleaning the grease off the spring to get that second bushing out. Wanted to show you how bad these bushings were. You can see that the bushing has, the center part has gone all the way down to the bottom. And the spring had actually been rubbing on the spring perch. Hopefully this will take care of it. So this is the one I'm cleaning up. I'm gonna pound this thing out. The other side was the side that I had already done. That's the new one. Right down the center. So hopefully this shows up. The center piece was easier to get out on the other side. Like I said, doing it the caveman way. Here we go. Trying to stay out of the way of the camera. There we go. Gonna pull the rubber out now. Okay, here goes the rubber. Let's see if I can get this out easy. Oh yeah. That's it. Completely worn out. I don't know if you can see that. Time to pound the outer sleeve out. Okay, so I was running this. First of all, my camera turned off. I must not have started it, the last section. But I was just running a punch down where the seam is in the spring and started splitting that the casing for that bushing. I got about halfway down and then it just slid out. So must have been all the oil and grease that's in there from the steering box. Try to get it out with this drift. This one came out a lot easier than the last one. Oh yeah. Almost out. Let's see, I'm going to put the board like that. Okay, so I don't know if you could see this. This is how I drew the thing in. I got this washer, which just rests on the outer sleeve. Then I got this washer, which will clear the inner sleeve, and then a 1/2-inch washer. I went with grade 8 washers because when I tried to do it with a threaded rod and regular washers, it just bent them. So let me get this set up now. Okay, here's my first setup. The eye's been greased a little bit, and I got my first bolt in there. I'm only going to get about a ½ inch pull on that because the threads on the bolt. Then I've got to use a socket as a spacer. So I'm going to pull this through, and then I'll show you the next setup. Okay, I put a socket here to give me a spacer. Now I can pull it probably I don't know, 1.5 inches in. I put a breaker bar on this side and just start pulling. And this side's going in a lot easier than the other side did. I don't have a deep socket, so I'll lose my, I won't be able to pull it all the way down because of the bolt coming through. It's going in real easy. Just about losing the depth on my socket. I'll put some more spacers in there. Actually, I have a shorter bolt I can put in. I'm going to set the camera up a little bit different. Let's see if I could get it in here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to work over it. Let's see. I got it set up a little bit different. I put a shorter bolt in. I bought 2 bolts. I have a 7 that I started it with, and then a 5.5, and then I have to go back to the 7-inch bolt when I finish it off. I need to put a socket over here when I pull it all the way through because the center tube sticks out a little further, so I need it to go further than the outside bushing, housing. So let's see if I can do this. Okay, so I can take these washers out now and put my socket back in there and finish pulling this in. So this is my last setup. I've got about maybe 3/16 of an inch left to pull in. See, I'm pulling it in this direction. I have this socket here. The inner sleeve is longer than the outer sleeve. This washer right here is going to butt up to the spring, and that'll give me the sleeve, excuse me, the outer sleeve will then be centered in the space, and then the inner sleeves will stick out. So I needed to have this space right here for it to go into. Okay, this side's done. A little more rubber sticking out here than on the other side, but the center piece is equal on both sides, and the outer part of the housing is flush on both sides. Finished the install a few minutes ago. Well, actually an hour or so ago. Parts House called. Got the other 2 boxes in. So I've got the bushings for the other front spring, and it's time to do the other spring. Thanks for watching.